A resolution introduced in the House by Representative Matt Gaetz, Republican Florida, that, if approved, would likely make it a negative move against continued U.S. aid for Ukraine amid the country's war, and Russia has only 10 supporters of the hundreds who can only be among House Republicans. That's not a good performance for a seemingly courageous member of Congress. This decision blames the United States, at least in large part, for the civilian deaths caused by the war in Ukraine, although this is very high. The military aid provided by the United States to the Ukrainian government, which included many of the weapons the country used against the Russian invasion, was not the main cause of the conflict. It was the Russian army that invaded Ukraine and began to attack civilians there. If anything, helping Ukraine with the ability to retaliate against Russian military aggression could be seen as helping to reduce civilian casualties, since the weapons meant Russia's progress had been limited to the country's region is close to Russia, although there are fears in other places. Imagine, even in vague terms, what would have happened if the Russians had taken Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, home to millions of people. In other words, the understanding of the war in Ukraine presented by Gaetz and his allies is wrong. Do they think that if the United States stops supplying weapons, the war will end? 10 supporters of Gaetz's decision, which members of the Foreign Office spoke about, added to the Florida senator himself and included family names, such as GOP Representatives Paul Gosar, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, and Lauren Boebert. The text of the decision also raises concerns about the readiness of the U.S. military due to the large number of weapons that the United States provides to Ukraine, although it is based on unfounded assumptions, especially the discussion of rates that can be closed the weapon used against him. Tanks are citing recent production figures, without knowing that the production figures for this tool may change. The low number of supporters for Gaetz's decision reflects the failure of Greene's proposal that would have prevented Biden from making major purchases from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. He eventually defeated a version of the plan that passed the House. Greene was upset that President Joe Biden made these releases to support energy expansion to help lower gas prices. He described Biden as someone who is trying to deceive the American people, which is amazing. Shouldn't the president do something to fix gas prices after all?